Unfortunately, it's been a while since we've made a video. That's mostly to do with work, family, and just everyday life. If you follow me on any other social media platform like Twitter or Instagram or any of those other ones, I did post a video, or a picture rather, of a 57 Chevy that I was going to be starting as the next video. And I really just lost interest in that project. I'm going to eventually finish it. I still have it. It's in primer right now. But it's not a red line, it's a Hot Wheels. It's an older Hot Wheels, but plastic base. And I really just lost interest or focus, whatever you want to call it. But I was talking to one of my good friends, and he said that he was getting ready to restore a Matchbox or a Lesney Jaguar Type E. I had no idea these existed. This is one of my favorite cars. Really never looked it up, so I had to get one. And it was from eBay again. I think I paid $4 for it. And here it is. Chewed up, but not too chewed up. The wheels are still there. The window's in pretty good shape. Almost perfect, really. But the paint's just chipped up. And you'll see throughout the video, it's a really cool casting. It's all die cast. The wheels, the actual base, the body, and it has rubber wheels. Most of these older Lesneys or Matchbox look like they had rubber wheels, but they were actually hard plastic. This truly has rubber wheels, so it's super cool. And the wheels are the spoke style wheels that they should be. So we're going to chuck it in the vise like we always do. We're going to drill it out. You'll notice another thing about these Lesneys, easy to drill. The rivets, as I'll call them, I say that in every video, but basically it's just the post being mushroomed. It's really wide. And due to that, you don't have to do any pre-drilling with the small bit, and you don't have to center punch it. So I'm just taking the large bit and removing as much of that material as I can without actually damaging that base. You see here, and this is actual speed. And it's really refreshing not having to worry about drilling out the post sideways or blowing out the side of them because the posts are so thin. These are thick posts, didn't have to worry about it at all. Pop off the front, and then we'll pry out the back. And after that, we'll just tip it upside down and get the interior and window out. Here's the base. Our holes are perfect. And you'll see here, this is how the axles are attached. This is the only downfall to these older Lesneys. It's actually part of the base. So in order to do custom axles, you need to cut these old ones off, and then you're going to have to build the axles on the actual base. You can't build them out and then snap them in unless you want to solder them in place or do something like that. Taking a look at all the parts of it, the window looks pretty good. There's some scratches on it, very minor. The interior, of course, it's perfect. They typically always are. And now we're going to go ahead and drill out the post. We're using our .050 drill bit, and then we're going to tap it with the 256 tap. And again, check out the links in the description below. I'll have Amazon links to where you can purchase the tap, the screws, everything. These are 256 button head screws. And there's drill bits in there. Anything you need to customize Hot Wheels should be in the description below. If the links are expired, shoot me a message and I'll get you the right thing. There they are, all screwed into place. And here's the body. Now you notice the back here, there's a line on both sides. It's like a casting mark, and we're going to go ahead and file that down and file around the windows. They're a little gummed up. And once you get everything nice and filed down, go ahead and apply some putty. I'll try to remember to put a link to this in the description, but this putty is awesome. It dries very quickly. Apply a generous amount and then go ahead and sand it down. I believe I started with 400 grit and worked my way up. And you'll see here in a moment, most of it disappears. There's just a small amount, just the low spots. We went ahead and primed it, just using some, I believe, Model Masters or Testors primer, enamel base primer. And after I let that set up for a few days, I'm going to go ahead and wet sand it. Now I'm wet sanding with, I believe, 2000 grit, maybe 2500. It's a little extreme. You could go to 1200. But I don't want to eat through the primer. I only have 2 light coats of primer, and I'm not putting any pressure on the sandpaper. I'm just letting the sandpaper do its thing. I'm just kind of rubbing it across. You see we kind of got a little bit of a sheen to it, which is fine. I really just want to knock down any of the rough spots that may have been left behind from spraying the primer, because it is kind of thick. Even though there's only 2 coats, it still goes on kind of thick. It's not exactly smooth. Plus it's out of a spray can. Now it's time to go ahead and spray. Now I'm using some Model Masters British Metallic Green, I believe was the exact name. I really was looking for British Racing Green, and this is pretty close. The only thing I found British Racing Green in was, I believe, Tamiya, or it may have been Tester's spray cans, and I didn't want to use that. And I actually ended up putting on, I think, 6 light coats. Saw that first coat, it was very thin, and here we are working our way to the final coat. And this is the final finished product. This is actually pretty dry, and here it is again. Now this is no wet sanding, no polishing with the polishing compound, no wax. There are 2 coats of clear, light coats of clear on this. That's the only thing we've done. I do end up doing the polishing compound and the wax. Didn't really need to, but I end up doing it. And you'll see at the end of the video that I actually didn't remove all the wax for the filming. Now we're going to take off the tires, again the rubber tires, and they remove. And we're going to use this liquid chrome pen to just spruce them up a bit. Now off camera I did clean the wheels up a little bit with the toothbrush and some soapy water, and that's all I did. I'm just dabbing it on there. You can see it's looking pretty good already. Here's what they originally looked like, kind of dull. Here's what they look like now. And we'll go ahead and repeat the process on the other 2 wheels, and this part of it will be done. Next we'll focus on the interior. We're using some more Model Masters. This is enamel and it's leather. That's the color. Figured it'd be nice with a brown leather finish. Now I do originally apply this with a paintbrush. I've never had this problem before. You'll see here in a minute, it looks horrible. And I tried to do it with about 3 or 4 coats. That's what it looks like. It's like it wouldn't adhere. So we go ahead and spray it. Now I thinned this down 1:1. 1 part paint, 1 part lacquer thinner, and it turned out flawless. And here's the body after the polishing compound treatment and the wax. It looks great. You can actually see the light. You'll see it in a moment here on the roof. There it is. That's the light shining down that I used to film. It was fine before. There was a tiny bit of orange peel, but the polishing and wax got rid of that. And there's that black steering wheel that I talked about. Time for assembly. Go ahead and put the glass in, the interior. We'll go ahead and put the base on. Now the glass, all I did was wipe it down. I was going to do the future shine, but it's pretty good shape. It doesn't matter. So I didn't end up doing it. Now you'll notice here in a moment I did add a few details off camera. I actually painted the headlights with just like a gray paint. They didn't turn out as great as I wanted them to. And I also painted the bumpers with that chrome marker. And those aren't perfect either. But overall, I'm really pleased with the end result. I love the paint. I love how it turned out. I love the wheels. The headlights I could do without, as well as the bumpers. I should have just left them green. But it doesn't look too bad. You can see on that right-hand side, the rear bumper, there's a little bit of the chrome that kind of just went on the body. Now I could remove that with some thinner or probably even water actually. And also I mentioned earlier about the waxing where I did not get it all off. This is new finish wax, and you can see I didn't get it all off around the rear window or around the doors. Pretty much anywhere there was like a crack or anything, I failed to remove it. Now off camera you don't really notice that. Like the picture in the thumbnail is the same exact car, but you probably won't see the actual wax in that picture. When I'm looking at it right now, off camera I don't see it, but on the camera, in the film, I can actually see it. I have to remind myself, this is what we started with. It had chipped up paint, ugly white interior, dull wheels, and most importantly, it was red. Jaguar Type E's are not supposed to be red. You can certainly paint this car any color you'd like. I just don't happen to like this car in red. And again, be sure to check out the links in the description. I'll have Amazon links to just about every tool we use for these die-cast restorations. Also, be sure to check out the channel on Instagram and Facebook. I typically put a shot of the upcoming build on there before the video. If you haven't already done so, subscribe. As always, thanks for watching.